Let's go to the third thing, which I think is a fundamental mistake I see a lot of people do, which is, we call it say no to LND. Lies, talking negative about others, and being defensive. This kind of puts up the panel. So let's talk a little bit on that, Satya. How can I not, sometimes truth can get me into trouble, and you're saying don't lie. So how do I manage? How can I tell the panel that, look, I have this problem?
No, if you actually look at it, we've answered this question in some other way in the previous insight.
Okay.
If I believe that whatever it is about me is the best about me, and I am among the top 4,000 among the top 200,000 candidates, I think the important thing is to just continue with that belief.
Okay.
We end up lying because we think that what I'm going to say is going to get me into trouble. You're going to get into trouble regardless of what you say. You might as well get into trouble by saying your truth. Because when they grope further, when they get deeper, whatever you're going to say is going to bring out your convictions, your authenticity. A lot of things come out from body language, facial expressions, and all of that. It's not just knowledge and communication.
In fact, also the other reason why I tell candidates to refrain from lying is that you're not letting them know the real you. Sure. By talking about lie, then you're scripting. Then what do you script? Yeah. Do I script like a Shah Rukh Khan or Dharmendra, Amitabh Bachchan? Whereas when you write about yourself, you're writing about yourself. That's the most important part of life, where you don't have to script. Let them know what you want to know. Also, lying also distinctively puts you in discomfort.
Yeah.
There are these.
You become defensive.
You become defensive and a whole lot of
self-conscious.
things. Gautam, just about when we were coming in, we were talking about an example of a student whom we were taking a class, and he had a last year interview. He was being very defensive, you said. So how does defensive come across in interviews? When somebody is being defensive, how does that come across?
So defensive also comes out of the fact that I'm looking, I believe that there's a stereotype which they're looking for.
Okay.
And I am not that stereotype, so I become defensive.
Okay. Okay.
So if you go back to the previous question that I'm unique, yes, then there's no specific pattern or traits or personality they're looking for.
Okay.
Because if you look at successful business people, successful managers, successful entrepreneurs, you can't classify them as these are the 5 traits each one of them have. So if you are comfortable with the fact that they are not looking for those 5 specific traits which you may or may not have, you will be able to handle the situation.
So defensive here means that, there is something that I've done in my life. A panelist gives another perspective. If it is a plausible explanation, accept it, don't defend it.
Absolutely. Don't assume that you need to be infallible in the interview.
Okay.
True.
It is fine to admit a mistake.
Okay.
It is fine to say that I'm sorry, sir.
Okay. And you used a very nice word. What is that word?
Infallible.
And what does that mean?
That you
cannot fail.
You cannot fail.
Okay.
You cannot fall.
Okay.
And
so can I like ask in the panel like this, if somebody uses the word infallible, can I ask him that what is that word?
Oh yes, absolutely. That because right now you demonstrated of being authentic.
Okay.
I didn't understand it. Can you just explain it to me?
Okay.
And you are not infallible.
Okay.
You failed, but it was okay.
Right. So you're saying that by we can make mistakes and there is no stereotype, and therefore don't make. Third thing is talking negative of others. I have interacted with Satya personally on like thousands of times now, and one thing that you always talk about is that don't talk about negative of the past. How does that affect in the interview? Let's say in an interview I'm sitting there and say I left the job because my boss was bad. So as panelists, does it give a wrong impression, or what is it like? What do you?
Yeah, I think it makes an incorrect impression in any context, including the panel, because if you begin to blame people who are not in the room, who cannot defend themselves, then you think you might be giving a very smart excuse, but there is an underlying message that you are sending that you're not taking the responsibility for negative outcomes and sending it on to others.
I'll give you a very different example of a similar thing. My marks were not good in college because the checking system or the marking scheme was very different, or is not up to the mark. The teachers would not check their papers correctly. Now, if that is correct, how can you substantiate the fact that when you got good marks, they were your marks?
Okay.
Again, you are saying that I will externalize the blame where I fail, and when I'm successful, it is because of me.
In fact, I even had one case where I had one professor had actually kind of victimized or went after one student and gave him low marks. So the student was asking me, how do I do it? I said, you tell him, why did he come to that conclusion first? So before telling because of victimization, I tell him I did a couple of things wrong. He had a wrong impression about me, and therefore my internals went for a toss.
And also that can be substantiated by the fact that other subjects he would have got good marks.
Good marks, yeah, correct. Okay. So this is say no to L&D, say no to lies, say no to negative things about people, and don't be defensive. The way to operationalize this, be aware of yourself and say whatever comes to your mind as truth. Just stick to that, and that would possibly work.